For more on this, David Dunn is a professor of international politics at the University of Birmingham. He joins me now from Birmingham in the UK. David, welcome to the programme. So, another indictment. They just keep on coming. But all the while, Donald Trump, his popularity, I should say, seems to just keep on going up, right?
Well, part of Trump's narrative has always been that he is the fighting for the little guy against the big state, the deep state, the blob, call it what you like. And so what he's able to do is spin these charges and say, look, this is what I told you. The state is trying to stop your guy, me, representing you. And so for those diehard Republicans, about 35% of the Republican voters, he is more popular now than ever before, because this seems to confirm his conspiracy theory that the state is out to stop him become president again. It's quite a convenient line to take for Trump, because it means he doesn't have to run on his record. His record was to mishandle COVID, to fail to build the wall he promised to build, to stop immigration coming across the southern border, and of course other controversial things like his climate denial policies. So for Trump, actually, it's a means of playing to that fan club, to that cult-like support of his Republican MAGA base.
And they seem to love it. What's going to be really, really interesting, though, is when this gets to the courtroom, it's going to be televised. And we know that Donald Trump, he almost thrives in that situation. Do you think he'll take real advantage of that, of being in the spotlight in that way?
Well, there's two aspects to this. I mean, politically, he will milk this for what it's worth. He will come across as the martyr, as the victim. He will try to portray the process as illegitimate and a political persecution. But of course, in doing that, he risks that the jeopardy of making things worse for himself in terms of the legal consequences. He is famously ill-disciplined in actually sticking to his legal brief, and he's likely to incriminate himself further by not actually taking his advice, lawyer's advice, either to plead the fifth and keep quiet, or to keep himself focused on the answers that he's worked out with his lawyers. So it's going to be explosive. It's going to be a very interesting year ahead. We have the situation of 2 civil cases, 4 criminal cases in 4 different jurisdictions at the same time as Trump is running for re-election and will be using every platform that he has there to actually try and delegitimize the legal process. In doing so, of course, he delegitimizes and destabilizes not only the constitutional process of the American election cycle, but also America's faith in the legal system. So this is highly divisive, further polarizing, and hugely problematic for American democracy, as well as for Trump and his co-conspirators as they face these charges.
It's quite remarkable, isn't it? And you mentioned sort of divisive. We know that American politics is so divisive at the moment. What does all of this tell us about the electorate?
Absolutely. It's important to remember that Trump is the product of populism and that polarization as much as he is an accelerant on the fire of that process. American politics has been really divided since the mid-1990s, when Newt Gingrich adopted it as a Speaker of the House, took a scorched earth policy of not working to actually come to compromise with his Democratic opponents, but to actually try and politicize every issue. And that's really, Trump is the culmination of that long process of divided politics, where, I say, it has become tribal. And a large part of that is the highly politicized and polarized and partisan media coverage. Americans get their news from one of 2 sources, either Trump-supporting Republican sources on the right, typically Fox News, and that the Democrats get their news and information from other media sources that gives them a one-sided view. So there is no balanced media, either in print or in social media or in news or TV and radio, and that as part of a process of dividing and offering no compromise and no middle ground of bringing Americans together. So they look at this current situation through either of those lenses in a way that's deeply problematic for the cohesion of the country politically, socially, and indeed with faith in the legal system.
All right, David Dunn, absolutely fascinating. Thank you so very much indeed. A Professor of International Politics at the University of Birmingham.